Hello, and thank you so very much for joining me today for today's energetic healing session. I wanted to do a chi Reiki ball for you in energy. Energetically, it's going to look like this ball right here, and it's going to have more colors infused in it. It's going to be red, orange, yellow, purple, green, white, pink, blue. So don't mind the energy vampires in the background, because unfortunately energy vampires have hooked into my father's land and house, and it's been a very unfortunate situation, but I'm not going to pass that energy to you. I'm going to pass my healer, shamaness, angelic, goddess incarnate energy to you. So I'm going to infuse with Chokurei as well as Seikei, to the point where I'm going to be fluffing your aura, fluffing your energetic frequencies. Okay, this is beautiful energy right here. Okay. And I'm also going to be, and the energy vampires are very extra. They're Philippine women. No offense, they're very jealous and very loud. It's very tacky in their personalities. Okay, and that's not a direct attack. This is just the truth, you guys. And I hate to kind of put it like that, but it's the truth. So they get very jealous, very insecure, and they get crazy, and they boil boiling pots of water, try to throw it at your feet, or try to burn your face, or spread rumors about you. And I'm really just over it. So we're going to be crystal scratching today, away from energy vampires like that, because you don't need them. Neither do I. And one of them's really trying to sabotage me right now and just be extra loud, knowing I have Reiki videos to do. She's not considerate. And this is what I don't like about energy vampires, is that they're completely egoistic, completely selfish, completely shady, vile. They have bad intentions. They'll one-up you, they'll try to sabotage your videos or sabotage your work. So I want to do a card pull as well. So let me just start off with some shaking. So this is how they siphon your energy, is to try to press your buttons and get you upset, because they're energy vampires, so they take your energy. I unfortunately have 3 energy vampires that live in my father's house that took over his land. It's really an injustice, but soon all will be taken care of through the divine and through the angelics. So, okay, I'm going to be pulling from this beautiful deck, and we're going to see any card pulls that you guys have, any type of messages that you guys. So this is going to be for the collective, okay, because they're pulling on my energy, but I'm not giving it to them. This is for you guys. Okay, so this is what this deck is called. I don't want to say it out loud, because they will try to break in my room and steal it and throw it away or do whatever. So we are going to shuffle, and we're going to see what is going on for the cosmic collective today, and what messages you need to hear for your highest and greater good. Okay, I'm going to split the deck, and I'm going to pull like this. So this is a gift, sensitivity, okay? It's called psychometry sensitivity. So sensitivity is not a weakness. Sensitivity is a gift, okay? You're sensitive in your gifts. Just say you are on a spiritual path, okay? And I'm going to be tapping to, because when energy vampires hook into you the way that these have hooked into my dad's house and into the landlord, it just, they overtook it, but their reign is over. Because guess what, I'm back, and I've called all of my energy and my power back to my father's house and back to me that they stole. So sensitivity, just say you're on a spiritual evolvement, spiritual awakening path, and you're getting sensitive to the energies around you to the point where you can't eat the old foods anymore. You know, you have to limit what you put in your digestion because you're shifting and you're changing to the point where you have to eat spinach leaves or butter lettuce leaves, or, you know, salads. And if I could just provide some tips, if you are undergoing a spiritual awakening right now, get some juices, some really yummy juices, like these. Here, I'm just going to show you the juices that you can kind of get. So this is a carrot juice right here. It's very important for your digestive fire, as well as a pineapple ginger juice. And you want to mix those together, and you want to put some cinnamon stick with some fresh lemon or lime, and you want to put some cinnamon powder, some ground turmeric, and optional, which is bay leaf, okay, bay laurel, and you also can put ACV, which is apple cider vinegar, and then you drink it. So this is more of like a carrot one. And also, I highly recommend you putting some papaya seeds in there to help aid digestion. And I threw just like a bay leaf in there for good juju vibes. And it'll zing, it'll wake up your system to the point where you'll be shedding all lower vibrational energies. Optional is also ginger powder, which I don't really recommend if you're going to have the pineapple ginger juice I just showed you. But this is a must. Some cinnamon. It's my go-to herb. It's my favorite spice to where I surround myself with rose petals and cinnamon stick, ground sage, turmeric. There's just something about the cinnamon stick. This is my spice, these and rose petals. I absolutely adore cinnamon stick. Also, if you are a starseed and you're awakening to your gifts, what you can do is you can fry some eggplant and eggs. So I did that today. I did some eggplant and eggs and some plantains. Okay. And you can keep spinach. You know, you can boil teas and so on and so forth. So you're going to want to do all of that. So we're going to be crystal scratching right now. And I'm going to be imbuing your aura with Reiki. And don't let lower vibrational, darker entities or energies throw you off or hook into you or influence you to be someone who you are not. You went through a huge learning lesson, like for years, but last year it was probably the icing on the cake. And if you're curious to know what I went through last year, you can look at my videos in the past on my channel titled Targeted Individual, as well as I explain these in some of my cord cutting Reiki, energetic healings, and energetic purifications. I'm also a walk-in trauma-based soul, okay? So where I had a huge starseed, but soul exchange awakening with another soul from the star realms, the higher realms. And this is in my video titled My Walk-in Soul Experience that I invite you to watch, as well as my targeted individual. So I am a Blu-ray soul, and I hail from Orion and the Pleiades, as well as Lemuria, Andromeda, Arcturus, Lyra, Atlantis, as well as the Venusian Fae, Venus incarnate. Excuse me. I have many spirit guides and guardians around me, protecting me, whether they are the seven others, bird, phoenix, incarnate goddesses from the phoenix bird realm, or from the angelics, whether it's the celestial angelics, the angels of fire, or the archangels, or the seraphim angels, as well as my Pleiadian star mothers, and just a whole range of animal and mammal spirit guides, as well as from the insect spirit realms. So right now, this is a transformational Reiki session to where you might be undergoing a major life change. You might be writing a book about your story and trying to find an editor or a publisher. You might be coming into your gifts as an artist. You might be drawing or painting or doing pottery or clay. You might be going to school as a pianist or a musician or playing a musical instrument. You might be a builder, okay? You could be using your hands to mold and create. You know, you could be leaving your 9 to 5, exiting the matrix, which is congratulations, and having more than enough abundance so you can support yourself and work from home in peace and tranquility and your own sanctuary, your own safe haven, right? So whatever path or walk you are on, all realms and walks of life are welcome here to my channel. Please do not judge me about the Filipino comment I made earlier. It's just a hard lesson that I've had to learn. The woman that embodied this body, who housed this body before me, her mother is actually from the Philippine Islands, and they're very traumatic, and they're very extra, to say the least. They're very jealous, and they like to make stories up, and they all act archonic and the same, and they humiliated her, they tortured her for years, they held her in a state of disadvantage, and they hooked into other people, whether it was at her kids' schools or in her other family members or neighbors on her street, and just all of these Philippine people, and they really held her at a state of poverty and disadvantage to the point where she left her body. She wanted to leave. I'm going to be shaking with cloves, shaking any lower vibrations out, because I feel the vampire is just really trying to hook in today. And what a lot of Philippine women honestly will do is they will find an American man, okay, because they see this as the land of opportunity. So they basically are opportunists to the point where they will just hook into an American man or a man in America. It doesn't even matter if he's American. If he was a legal, alien or whatever, he's legal, to the point where they will procreate a whole life and hook in. And this is how her mother is an energy vampire, to where she did this to her father. And her father was actually the victim, and the mother made it seem like she had it all together and that her husband was mentally ill because he was in the Marine Corps. But it didn't matter what Agent Orange did to him and how abusive he was. The mother stayed, and then it made Sarana, a shell of her former self, to the point where she was getting abused and getting hit every which way, to the point where she was getting humiliated and tortured, her and her kids and their things, on a daily basis. So she went through just a lot of torture from her blood, to the point where she found herself out on Destination Parkway and Universal Boulevard last year, and she found herself being a free spirit trying to survive and live in a plaza, eventually moving into her car and then moving into a stairwell because she started getting targeted and burned on her skin and sexually assaulted. It was an awful story, but it was such a soul awakener because she survived it, and she was a warrior to the point where she moved on a stairwell, but she had a walk-in soul come, which is me, okay, Samara and Dara, to the point where I'm a Blu-ray soul, to where Sarana was an indigo. She was more of an indigo child. She was more Mintakan, mermaid, angel incarnate, to where I'm more assertive, Andromedan, Arcturian, from Orion on Bellatrix, as well as Pleiadian. She was more, and also I'm also Syrian. She was more Atlantean, Mintakan, Orion, Lemurian. I'm more Andromedan, Orion, Bellatrix, Arcturus, Lyran, Syrian, so Blue Ray. She was more indigo, and she also had, I don't know if it's called Hadrian or no, Hadarian. She was a very compassionate starseed, to where she was extremely sensitive and had a huge heart chakra. But when her own blood came for her, and these darker archonic negative reptilian alpha draconian entities hooked in through her sister, because her sister was very much Irish Kegel. Her sister would burn her as a little girl, like leave pots on the oven. She would grab her hair and like try to beat her up, and her sister was 10 years older, and then her parents would watch this, and her mother stayed. Her mother was the fiduciary, and she was from the Philippine Islands, to the point where she was fully taking advantage of the father. She didn't love the father. She actually told Serana, look, I just had to ensure my future, which shattered and broke Serana, her heart, and she kept leaving and moving out to apartments or extended stay hotels. But the vampires here that hooked in through her sister, because her sister brought a very bad, dark, vibrational, lower entity parasite home one time, to the point where he looked like homeless, like a bum, to the point where they procreated, and now it's like this. So that was the Ereshkigal sister. She's always like in the background, like a vulture, like lurking, and just trying to take who she thinks her sister. She thinks her sister is me, because you know I'm in her body. But I've tried to tell her and her mother many times. Serana has left. She is no longer here. And if you guys want to hear that story about you can be a walk-in soul, but the previous soul that incarnated and housed the body before the original body, the soul to this body has to choose to physically leave. So for about 2.5, 3 years, she kept seeing death moths. She saw a huge death moth because they sent her and her kids like away and like exiled her like a fallen angel. It was foul as fuck. It was so mean, to the point where she you know, she was applying for Section 8 when it opened in specific counties, like the lottery one in Hialeah near Miami, down south, and she was even on the 2 waiting lists for HUD, to where she didn't get housing, she didn't get child support, and she was struggling because the people who were supposed to love and protect her ended up battering her and tormenting her and just torturing her and her children and their things and her baby, to the point where they almost killed her baby, to the point where, and there's the obnoxious laugh from Nate Jacobs, to the point where he will do this, and he's an energy vampire, and that's from Uresh Kegel, her sister's husband. So Uresh Kegel had 2 abortions, but chose to keep the darker entities alive and feed and anchor it into my father's house. So the point is that you need to really be careful with who you intertwine with energetically, because if you're not careful, things like this can unfortunately happen. Okay, I'm going to end the session here, and I'm going to make way for an entirely new session. So that was kind of a story time, ASMR tapping. We're going to be doing aura fluffing and aura cutting now that the energy vampire Ereshkigal Kegel has went into her room like a sloth and will lay down. I am Samara Andara, and I am a walk-in trauma-based soul from Sirius and Bellatrix on Orion's belt. I also have star ties to the Andromedan Star Mothers, the Pleiadian Star Mothers, Orion's belt Star Fathers, as well as the Venusian Fae and the Neptune Angels. I love you guys. Blessed be.